Hello guys, so a new battle report. I decided to do UB battle report because due to the current situation, it's kind of difficult to arrange some live games, so I thought why not do a UB battle report in order to offer you some content during this period. I think we all have time to watch battle reports, so it's a good opportunity also for me to record something. So first game on UB, this was a practice game against Mike, a good friend of mine, playing Warrior of the Dark Gods. My list, I was playing a Wild Herd list with 3 Hunter. The first one, General with basically 3+, 4+ regen, 5 attack, strength, 5 AP3 lethal strike, always hitting on 3+ with the Hearth Reaper. Then the BSBs on the Tusker, 2+, 5 upward save, 3 up against fire, and BSB 18-inch with a magical resistance 1 as well. And the last hunter is the cheap one with toughness 6, and that's the one who is doing 6 attack, strength 6 on the charge, also impacted strength 6. And I paid him again also a potion of strength in order to help him if he's stuck in combat against something with multiple wounds. It can be useful for 10 points. Regarding magic, I chose to pay the obvious with Unmastered Thaumaturgy. I think for Ogre MSU it's the best choice with Magical Heirloom and Binding Scroll. 4x3 Tribesmen in core and 1x8 Saber-Tooth Tiger, 2x1 Saber-Tooth Tiger in special. 2 Keen Eater, really like the Keen Eater. I think they are really great what they offer at the table with the ambush option. And then 1 Slave Giant with Great Weapon and 2 Rock to end this list. So really a full MSU list. Regarding Mike, he's playing a Lord with the Wings, Burning Blade, Greed, 1+ rerollable, Doom Lord with Death Cheater, and Halberd with Trophy Rack, Master Evocation on the Battle Shrine, so he has access to Wrath of God. It's really a cool option. 3x10 Warrior, 8 and 5 Ounce as Chaff, 6 Forsworn, 2x1 Chosen Chariot, and 1 Battle Shrine to close this list. We played Dawn Assault and King of the Hill. As spell, I chose End of Heaven, Smite the Unbeliever, Wrath of God, and Trial of Faith. I hesitated a little bit to take the Breath weapon instead of Trial of Faith, but I thought Trial of Faith might be a good weapon against the Flying Lord if he's annoying and going alone. That could be really a good spell against him because I have the possibility to one-shot him, technically. War of the Dark God, Mike chose to take reroll to wound, the 2 snipes and Wrath of God, and then the other shrine took Gravecold. Okay, what I think regarding the matchup, we have good damage output from range. He has the snipes, that can be a problem. For the shaman, can be a bit annoying to take easy wound with snipes, and the BSB needs to be full wound to be in combat with the Burning Blade, I think, because if I have taken 1-2 wounds, that might be very risky to go against the Chosen Lord with Burning Blade. Also, I have a 3+ against fire, that might be a bit risky. BSB and Orok are a good answer to the Flying Lord. Generally speaking, I have a superior amount of threat, chaff, and mobility, so that should help me getting the edge in the game. But the Doomstar is quite hard to stop for my list because I have really to get a good combo charge on this unit to kill all Forsworn and avoid my opponent having too long the Stubborn effect. This might be a problem for the objective because if Mike goes straight for my piece of terrain to defend, might be difficult for me to stop that with the strength he has in this unit. And of course, he has 2 pieces of chaff. I have a lot of them, so that might help me to control a bit more the board overall, the movement phase and the charges, of course. But I really will try to clean the chaff as soon as possible because this will help me immensely having a good control of the game. Okay, deployment. I dropped everything, so Mike chose the side. He took this 3/4, so I had this zone for my deployment. I dropped everything, so this guy was in scout, he came afterwards, and these two guys already made the vanguard move. So 8 Saber Tusk, the general, first Rock, tribesman, 1 cat, 2 cat, the giant, the BSB on Tusker, the shaman, 1 Keen Eater on the board, and the second one in ambush. I was not sure how Mike was going to approach the game. I think it was depending a lot who is going to start, because I think it's more in my interest to be aggressive in this game. I have more possibility to play aggressively. So I thought that I will be going aggressive in this game, but so never mind. It can be always useful to have an ambush coming behind the line, and the second Keen Eater. So why not put it on the board? It can be an early piece of chaff, really useful. So I put the Keen Eater on the board, and this one in ambush. And the scout, basically, Mike counter deployed with 2 chosen chariot on this side. 2 units of warrior with the lords with the wings, battle shrine, the normal one, the lord on battle shrine, so the mage, the 2 piece of chaff, the doomstar, and another unit of warrior. He had to defend this forest. I chose to defend this forest. So for me, I saw an opportunity because of the impassable terrain. It was quite hard to maneuver properly for Mike, and it was possible for me to be outside 18 and to be very aggressive on the first turn and come outside of all line of sight and put pressure on 2 chariots. So that was really a good opportunity for me to take. That's why I put the hunter here, because over there I had no good possibility to come outside of arc. So I thought, why not be aggressive here? I think with these 2 threats plus the rock coming and maybe an ambush, I might be able to put really a lot of pressure on this part of the board and avoid the chariot charging me. Also, on this part of his deployment, he has no chaff, so he really would need to make big movement through the ruin with 1 piece of chaff to come and chaff here, so that would be kind of difficult. Okay, let's move on to turn 1. So turn 1 of the ogre, I go outside of line of sight with the hunter. Here I stay very careful at the moment, so I go a bit on the side, but nothing too risky. I come forward with the BSB to have good ranges overall with the 18-inch, and also the only threat that I have from here, I think I had 6/6 charge with the 4th one. Okay, a bit too far for a unit without Thrift Ride. And here could charge with the flying guy, but I would love to have this combat at the moment, so no worries. If he comes, I would be more than happy. And I thought going over there, I will try to follow a bit the movement of this guy, because that's my best counter, and I have also I can maneuver very well with the eye movement of the Tusker. And over here, I move my Keen Eater forward to start. These are really good options, Keen Eater, tribesman, if I go in the middle of the board to open a little bit the game, to create something. So I just put my 2 monsters on the hill to have rollable charges, and if he takes it, I can easily counter charge. If he doesn't take it, I can also be a threat on the wolf. So I think that was an interesting move for me. And I rearrange a little bit chaff pieces, also the ogre, these guys. The idea on the long hand is to go for the objective, and these guys are second bunker for the mage, so the mage can be forward at the moment. I can go back and I can go behind the house in a safe zone if needed. What I took some time to look is also all the possibilities of the flying guy to be able to have a good cover with the Auroch, because I would really like to avoid him going outside of line of sight in some part of the board, which I don't like, because that would be really annoying for me. Magic, I casted End of Even first on the 5 hounds. Of course, Mike dispelled it because it was a good risk to lose 1 piece of chaff early in the game, and he was outside of the discipline range of the general, so that was really a good option for me. but he dispelled it. And then with 3 dice, I had 6 against 5 dice. So with 3 dice, I was able to cast in a Wrath of God, which I put here in the ruin. Was also really good to get Wrath of God in the first turn for me. And shooting, I managed to do 1 wound on 1 chariot with the hunter on the top left. Okay, turn 1 of Roy of the Dark God. He came forward aggressively with the Force 1 unit, leaving me at the moment with a flank charge with the Keen Eater, and he came forward to chaff with the Hound, but he forgot that he has only a Discipline 5, and this guy is not a general, so he will have to pass a leadership 5 in order to effectively chaff me. If he doesn't, I mean, I will be able to get easily a triple charge on the Doomstar, which would be probably too much to take for him. Here you see my Wrath of God. And then here he shuffle a bit, but he doesn't find any good option to react properly. So he put the chariot to cover, and basically if I charge in, it tries to cover the angle, but I should be able to, I saw the angle, should be able to charge over there and be outside of every line of sight. So I thought here Mike missed something. It was possible to go a bit further back with the chariot and angle him in a way to at least have a counter charge of this model, because I mean, that's something without any downside for me. If I charge in and he has no counter charge, I mean, I have only to pass my leadership, not to pursue if I don't kill him outright, and then I'm still a threat, and a chariot would be fleeing or destroyed. So I think that was a bit a mistake from Mike's part. He should have been a bit further behind to have a good cover with the second chariot. And the rest he goes a bit back in order to avoid the Wrath of God with these 2 guys. And the general flies in over there to be a bit a threat in the middle of the board, but that also allows me to charge in, and he has only a musician, so I should be able to challenge him. That's quite interesting for me. First magic phase, Mike tries to snipe my BSB, so with the D3 touches strength 10 against discipline, but I dispel this spell because it's not something I can have. I cannot have 1, 2, or 3 wounds less on this model if I want to charge in on the next turn. So this one I dispel it, and then with 3 dice, Mike is able as well to cast a comet. He puts the comet over there more or less, and then my Wrath of God comes down and does a lot, because 4 wounds on the dogs who have to take a leadership 9, a discipline check without reroll and fail it and go off the board. So that's really great, because second piece of chaff is manage. Does 2 wounds on the warrior, 4 wounds on the other unit of warrior. I did really a big range. 1 wound on the normal shrine and 2 wounds on the master on battle shrine. So really a great Wrath of God. And I think I was just outside of the fourth one, or I did nothing on the fourth one, I guess. We'll see. Okay, my turn 2. So I take some charges. Mike passes successfully the leadership check 5 on the dogs, so well done. So I charge with the Orok, who failed the frenzy. I failed charge. I needed a 6 with the BSB, but I fail. I do only 2, triple 2 actually. Thanks Yubi. So only triple 2, and I failed this charge. I mean, no really downside for me at the moment, because he can charge me. I'm not really afraid. Here actually I killed 1 model with the Wrath of God. Over there I made a charge with the hunter with 6 attack strength 6 on this model, and I just placed my general outside of line of sight of the chariot, but within line of sight of the warrior, but really far away. It's an 11 on 2 dice, so no problem at all. I came in the board with the Keen Eater in order to threat these pieces. I thought with here 3 threats on this side, I should be able to deal quite easily with this 2 chariot and the warrior unit, which would put me in a very good spot then to push from the left side to the right side. Over here, just move a bit with the Orok, and I went as far as possible with the dogs outside of the range of the Wrath of God, and also a bit far away as possible with the different tribesman unit. And as you see, I took the charge. Basically, I was chaffed here with my 2 monsters, but I think it's good to take the charge to stuck them in combat. I am unbreakable. He has only 4 attacks, strength 4, so I'm basically more or less unkillable with the Keen Eater, and it's just better as just going forward and chaff. So I thought it's better to stick them in place, and if I'm a bit lucky, I might be able to stick some wound, and that might play a huge role afterwards when I'm able finally to take the charge with the monster in this unit, because as you know, the main thing with this unit is to kill to break the stubborn at the good moment with enough combat result to make the Doomlord flee. That's basically the thing. Okay, magic. I put -1 to wounds or hereditary spell Children of Umi on the Keen Eater. Then I put random Smite Unbeliever -1 strength on this unit, which should help me to survive quite good. Also next turn with the Doomlord striking at strength 6, he has now strength 5 and -1 to wounds, so that's quite good for me with my toughness 5 and regen 5. And then I tried Wrath of God, but Mike was able to dispel it. His own Wrath of God didn't came in this turn, so that's good news for me. In combat, he's able to manage 2 wounds with only 4 attacks, wounding on 6+. I think he's able to manage 2 wounds, so that was bad for me. Of course, I killed the hounds and just pivot over there. I made no wounds. Impacted strength 6. I made 2 impacts, 2 wounds. He saved both of them. And then with my 6 attack, hitting on 4+ and wounding on 3+, AP3, I did no wounds. In return, he did 1 wound to me, so it's a break test on the 8. No reroll, or 7 actually. 7, I think he was too far away from general, so 7. He didn't do it and flees. And I just restrained, because if I go after him, I might be able to kill the chariot, but I will also get counter charge from these 2 units, so I don't want to take it. I don't want to take it. So it's just reforming and staying outside of the line, and the chariot flees in this position more or less. Okay, turn 2 for my opponent, so that's the distance of the flee. Turn 2. So the situation is quite difficult for Mike. He has no good choice here with these 3 threats. So he tried to do the best he can to avoid irresistible charges that would be too annoying, but I still have a lot of possibilities with all these threats in this position of the board. Over there, as you saw, I managed to do 2 wounds on the last turn, and he had reroll to wound in. That's why he was able to stick in 2 wounds with 6 to wound and rerollable. So I took 2 wounds, but he reformed in order to strike now with the Doomlord. Over here, he just decided to fly with his Lord in order to help a bit this combat, because as you can see, I have also a lot of threat in this area. And also there is a lot of points in this unit for him. Just moves back with both Battle Shrine, and the warrior don't move at all. In magic, also he rallied his chariot on the 8 without reroll. That was good news for him at least. So he tries to do again the snipes with strength 10 on my BSB, but fails it thanks to the magical resistance 1. This was helpful for me. So 3 dice, he gets 1 back with the fizzle, and then he tries to do Wrath of God with 4 dice, but I'm able to take it out. So that's good. But he's able again to cast in a Spectral Blade. No, excuse me. Last turn he wasn't able to cast Spectral Blade. It's this turn that he's able to cast Spectral Blade on the Force 1 unit. Okay. So I took out Wrath of God, but he was able to have here reroll to wound, which is not ideal, but not the worst case for me. And he's able to do exactly 2 wounds on the Keen Eater, and I do I'm not able to strike at all, so he's able to reform to be in the front of these 2 units. And that's it for turn 2. Turn 3, I have plenty of charges, as you can see. So obvious, the 2 monsters go inside the 4th one unit. The challenge is quite simple. Huh? He has 12, 13 wound left in this unit, I guess. So I have to do 13 wound if I doesn't want him to have stubborn this round and make him flee. On the top of the board, so I did multiple charges. I was able to achieve a 9 on the dice to charge with the Rock on the chariots. That was really good. I decided to go for the overrun on the warrior unit in order to be able then to free my BSB and reform and put some threat. It would have been also possible to do, I guess, an overrun, a double overrun, actually a first one in the warrior and then probably a second one in the chariot if I would have charged differently with the ambush. I didn't saw it directly, but I think that would have been a really good opportunity for me as well to clean in this turn this 3 threat without risking to lose the Keen Eater and getting counter charge actually. Okay, so here as well the general goes in the chariot with hope overrunning in this second unit of warriors. So plenty of charges, and I think that was the only one that was a bit far away. That was 9. I think this guy was middle distance, like a 6 or less, and that's it more or less. Didn't want to charge with the unit with the flag in the flank of the Doomstar because I thought I might just strike in this unit and make some easy wound and then be able to win the combat, so I didn't want to take the risk. Okay, that's it, I guess. In Magic, he was able to Binding Scroll my Smite the Unbeliever in order to have 1 spell less for the combat. That was, I think, a good choice for him. Then I do Trial of Faith on his general. I think that was the perfect timing for this spell, but of course Mike's dispels it. Then I put Children of Umi on the Rock in order to help him in the combat against the Doomlord, who is striking at strength 6 and rerolling 2 wound. And what else? I try as well Wrath of God, but I fail to cast it, and Mike gets its own Wrath of God to strike only the Ogre unit. So that was quite lucky with 2 counter. He only strikes. He needed a 7 on the dice to hit the Orok as well, but he was only able to get 5 on the dice, and therefore to get 6 wound on the Ogre, and I managed my 8 rerollable to not panic. So that was good. No Wrath of God anymore, and only take 6 wound of Ogre. That was quite lucky for me. Okay, combat. I didn't roll really well on this combat. I did only 2 wound on the impact with the Rock, and then overall he still has 5 wounds of Force Run in this unit, so he's able to stick on a stubborn check. I take 3 wounds in return with the Orok and like 1 wound with the Giant, and he still has 5 wounds on the Force Run. I mean, that's not ideal, but that's still not a worst case scenario because I should be able to do these 5 wounds on the next turn and to take less than 5 wounds and therefore to win the combat. So, I mean, that's not bad at all. And I'm able, of course, to reform my Giant a bit on the left in order to avoid the counter charge from the Flying Lord. So the only charge in this combat that he can do is to charge over there in the Rock, but I mean, I have toughness 7, he has strength 5, and I'm dividing the multiple wounds, so he would be with 5 attack on 2+, 6+. That's not the worst case for me, so I think I would be fine for him to get this counter charge. After combat on the top here of there, yeah, I mean, that's quite obvious. I kill outright the chariot, overrun, kill this unit. Here I'm able, he rolled quite well, but I'm able to stick on 1 wound. Yeah, if I would have to do it again, I think I would just go for the double overrun of the Rock and the triple combat of Rock to safely kill the chariot. And I reformed my general in order to charge on my turn 4 and kill the chariot. So I dealt completely with the left part of Mike's army. I did 2 overrun in order to be close to the chariot and be a threat in the next turn, and I reformed my BSB in order to have a good line of sight on this combat, but also on the Chosen Lord. If he fails the charge, I should be able to charge him, which would be ideal for me, and I move a bit the different unit forward in order to threat the objective slowly in the coming turn. Okay, let's move on now to the third turn of the warriors. It took a first charge against tribesmen, which didn't fled really far, but he failed with a 9 not rerollable to redirect the charge in the Auroch. So bad news for him. I don't know why he took this first charge. If he wanted to come in the Auroch, he should just have come directly in the Auroch. Would have been, I think, much better for him not to take the risk to fail the 9, I think. Over there, he managed to march and chaff my 2 units and just move back with his master. And here we are still stuck in combat. He didn't move a lot, that's it. On the magic phase, I'm able to binding scroll Gravecall. I don't want to take a lot of wounds, strength 6 on this guy. Not at this moment, because I have a really good charge on his lord, so that's impossible for me to take. So I just use my binding scroll, and then he does again the snipe, D3 snipe on my BSB. He's able to do 1 wound, but I am able to ward save it, so nothing on the BSB, that's good. He tries to do reroll to wound on this unit, but fails with 2 dice, and then he tries with 4 dice to do Wrath of God, but I'm able to dispel it with 6 dice. On combat, here I die, that's logic, and second combat over there I'm able to do the 5 wounds without any problem. I take 2 wounds in return on the Rock, and therefore I win by 3, sorry. He has a 6 rerollable and he fails it, so he flees. I try to pursue with both, but I failed to catch him. I just stumble a bit forward, and he does like an 8 and finish in the rune. So then it's my turn. I should be able to finish him. That's really a very good news for me. That's the end of the turn. That's the situation at the end of Mike's turn, and we decided to finish here because I just rolled the first charges, but the Doomlord were over here. I charged with the giant, he did a 9, so goes off the board, and I mean, that's obvious that I'm going to kill this to charge him and kill him. I have 3 options to charge him. I had really plenty of options. I can chaff here and then come slowly for the mage and the objective, so that was the end of the game at this point. Okay, we'll try to analyze a little bit what went wrong for the warrior. I think the counter deployment of Warrior of the Dark God wasn't good enough. I will show you afterwards a picture with an alternate deployment that Mike could have done or should have done, I think. Because I was really happy with the Doomstar being so far away from the objective. I thought straight away, that will be hard for him to go on the opposite of the map, because he's so far away from my objective, and that was for me the hardest unit to stop scoring, so I was really happy. And then, I mean, due to the deployment, I was able to play on my strengths, number of threats, mobility, rapidity, and I used it to my advantage. Being able to start was a big plus for me. Of course, having cleaned the chaff early in the game was as well a big plus, because this helped me getting control of the board, getting the charges I wanted. And I think as well, something that we need to point out is War of the Dark God. He decided to take a lot of damage, range damage, but I mean only 1 spell to buff combat. And I mean that was too easy for me, because if I didn't want him to buff any combat, I was just going to dispel the Spectral Blade, and that was it. So I think he should have gone for much more combat buff, because it's an obvious match where we get a lot of combat. and I think he should have taken the 2 reroll with evocation and the -1 of toughness from evocation, and then the snipe with D3. I think it's a really good spell in this match, so he should have kept it and take Wrath of God, of course. So that should have been something much more useful for Mike in this game. Okay, that was all for this practice game. I have a last picture. It's the deployment that I would have seen for the warrior. So put the Doomstar on the left in order to claim in the later stage the objective. That's also a good way to react to the hunter, because I mean he doesn't care having to take a charge from the hunter on the flank because he's stubborn and he can reform, he can put the Doomlord on the side and strike against him, so that's not the biggest threat for him. So I think I would have put the Doomstar on this part, maybe a chariot, a better angle to avoid me getting some scout position in this side of the board. So just put maybe 1 chariot here looking this way, and then the Doomstar slightly here a bit more to the right, but going really for this side of the board. And then I would have put the Flying Lord quite far away from the BSB, so here on the left, to protect this scenario, this objective, and also to be a threat on the flank, because I was not able to put any unit here due to Dawn Assault. So I think that would have been much better to drop here the Warrior and the Lord, and here in the middle the second Chariot, the Battle Shrine, the Chaff, the Warrior unit, and so on. So that was something that I would have seen for Mike as a good option to counter deploy in this game. Okay, that's all. Thanks a lot. I hope you like the UB. I know it's not real model. It's a bit annoying to see this UB picture, but I mean it's something that allows me to produce a bit of content. So I hope you're happy to get some content from my channel. And yeah, I will be getting more games on UB and more battle reports. So see you soon on YouTube. Bye bye.